Hi, Helen. So after logging in using the username and password I included in the email, you're going to come over here and click where it says Mind Tap with Exploring Statistics, and you'll see that it does open up into a new window. You're immediately taken to the calendar view, and you may recall this is where students would see any required activities that you may have assigned. But for now, I want you to click along here on the top to the second view, which is called our unit view. And now you're going to see a different set of folders that I've created for each of you can see folders that correspond with each chapter, but then I went in here and customized this Mind Tap for you so that it would be clear and easy for you to do the review. So I created this beginning folder that says exploring statistics. So I pulled out all of those exploring statistics um, uh, interactive visualizations that Nate and Aaron showed you last week in your office, and I compiled them into one easy to find folder, and you'll see that they do correspond with each chapter. So for instance, for chapter 4, it says exploring statistics. This is where we cover introduction to probability. So you don't have to then scroll down and say, okay, what's covered in chapter 4? It's very clear. So to preview it, you simply click where it says chapter 4, and then there are 5 different ones just for chapter 4 alone. Each chapter has its own set of own set number of these visualizations. So some of them may have more and some of them may have less. So to preview them, you simply click on one that you'd like to look at, and then you'll see the prompt that students have to follow. And in this one, they're going to drag the circles over each other to see the probability of the event. And when you have the overlap, students can actually see the union decreasing because of the probability of their intersection, right? So students can really get that nice visualization by dragging each of these circles around. So if I go back, you can see that there's, again, 5 different ones to look at just for chapter 4. If I click my back button, again, you can select different chapter, and you'll see for chapter 5, there are 2 of them. If we go back in and let's say select chapter 7, we've got 5 separate ones just for chapter 7. So again, each chapter has a different amount based on the content of that particular chapter. So if I close this folder, we know after talking to you last week, we did figure out that Excel is not something that's important to your course. So I took the liberty of removing all of the Excel online activities that are usually embedded within each chapter. And since they're not covered in your course, I simply put them in their own folder here at the bottom. You could hide these from your students. So if I click this little button here, it completely hides all of those activities, and they're not deleted, but then students wouldn't be able to see them, and then they wouldn't have to worry about being accountable for those activities. So I did pull them out within each chapter and put them over here in their own little folder. I'll leave that unhidden so that you can look at it if you like. So I do want to point out, if you have the time over break to not only explore look at the exploring statistics activities, but perhaps look at some of the content that's available within each chapter. So if I open up this chapter 4 here, let's pick on chapter 4 today. If you want to take a look at section 4.2, we've got our reading here, and then open up this folder and we've got some show me solution videos to look at, and then a practice assignment. You can mark this as a required assignment, or you can leave that as practice for students to be able to check in on themselves about that content just in section 4.2. If I click on 4.3, you'll see my reading that starts out at the top, and then there are 2 corresponding exploring statistics activities. So then we've got those visualizations that students can use to, and these can be required or they can be marked as practice, but it will allow students to engage in more of that exploring statistics format within an activity setting that you can, again, require as a grade or leave as practice. Again, if I open up this folder, just in section 4.3, we've got those show me the solution videos and then another practice assignment. Each chapter concludes with some reading, review, and assignments. So if I open up this folder, and again, you'll find it in each one, we have the full chapter reading, a review of the summary of the chapter, then we've got an assignment, which is a comprehensive assignment based on the chapter, then an interpreting the results activity that assesses students' ability to analyze data and then interpret the results. So these activities are modeled by case problems from the textbook, and then they showcase the same company example introduced in the opening chapter video, Why Does It Matter? And again, that chapter video is over here in the introduction. So they watch this video and then the interpreting results will circle back around to that video. So again, you can mark these as practice assignments. They don't have to be required, but these are, again, excellent assignments to really assess students' ability to understand the content within each chapter. Finally, each chapter does conclude with our test prep, which is an adaptive test prep that students can review and use throughout the semester. So this is always open to them. It will allow them to create their own practice tests based on areas of the textbook that they need to review. And based on their responses, their incorrect and correct responses, they're generated a personalized study plan that will highlight where they need to perhaps go back in and review. And again, these test preps are open to students throughout the semester. So I know that this is a lot of information, but I do appreciate you allowing us to present to you last week, and I appreciate you taking the time to look at these activities. I'm only kind of scratching the surface of the amount of content that's available for your students in here. Of course, we've got algorithmic variation assignments, more comprehensive assignments that you can create if you needed more activities in here. But for now, I really would love for you to highlight or focus on these exploring statistics, interactive visualizations that really piqued your interest last week, because I do believe these are what will truly set us apart from your current solution of My Statistics Lab. I look forward to hearing what you think, Helen, and again, I appreciate you taking a look, and I'm very excited at the possibility of working with you and your students for 119. Have a great spring break, and we'll touch base in a couple of weeks.